All throughout ancient legends, we hear echoes of giants that once roamed our planet. Some are seen as malicious and vicious beasts. Others are bringers of knowledge and civilization. But no ancient collection of legends nor text refers to them in such great detail as the Bible. Join us as we journey back into the pre-diluvian world in search of evidence that could prove enormous giants once roamed our Earth. We'll explore their origins, mysterious fathers, and what could have happened to this ancient hominid species. This is one you won't want to miss: ancient giants in the Bible. In our search for the evidence that would suggest giants once existed, the first place we will begin is the biblical book of Genesis. Here we get our first glimpse at proof that such a group once existed, and they were known to Semitic speakers as the Nephilim. In chapter 6, it reads as follows: "When people began to multiply on the face of the ground, and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that they were fair, and they took wives for themselves of all that they chose. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of God went into the daughters of man, who bore children to them. These were the heroes that were of old, warriors of renown, while not much context is given, and they are seldom mentioned throughout the entirety of the Bible. It would assume that a large portion of the story is missing. Just who were these so-called sons of God? Why did they take earthly women as wives? And why were their offspring considered giants? In order to get more context on the entirety of this mysterious problem, we have to turn to the book of Enoch, a religious text intentionally left out of a Roman Catholic Bible. What is the book of Enoch? This ancient Hebrew text mostly centers on apocalyptic visions of catastrophic events to occur in the future. But it is also the first place we hear of a strange and mysterious group known as the Watchers. According to the text, there are both good and malevolent watchers who are known as angels in later Aramaic texts and religious writings. This group is said to be one and the same with the sons of God, who are mentioned as the fathers of the Nephilim in the book of Genesis. The book of Enoch claims that the Watchers were dispatched from heaven to earth to watch over the progression of humans. However, under no circumstances were they ever to interact with humans, or they would suffer a great punishment from God. But upon seeing how beautiful the women of the earth were, their lust soon grew, and they soon desired to sleep with them. Eventually, their leader, Samyasa, went against God's will and allowed them to intermingle with the humans and procreate, bringing forth a hybrid species known as the Nephilim. The enormous offspring of the Watchers were said to be anywhere from 8 to 15 feet tall and were savage people who wreaked havoc on humanity and pillaged the earth. Samyasa and his Watchers also taught humans various arts, including cosmetics, weaponry, sorcery, astrology, and how to make mirrors. Eventually, God has enough of the Watchers' behavior and forbids them to return to heaven. They would become known as the fallen angels from this day onwards and were bound to live on earth until Judgment Day. After this, God sent forth a massive flood to destroy the Nephilim who were destroying the earth. But in order to save a portion of the human race, he sent forth an angel known as Uriel to pre-warn Noah and instructed him to build an ark. The Watchers and the daughters of man. In recent centuries, a great deal of debate has been centered on the identity of the Nephilim. Was this group really the offspring of the Watchers who had taken earthly wives? Why did this untoward relationship produce giant offspring? Were the Watchers a race of giants themselves? Or did they create a hybrid species of humans due to the mixing of their foreign DNA with that of humans? Unfortunately, there isn't much we can really determine from the texts about this. However, what we can surmise from the text is that the Watchers may have actually been an ancient people with technology far beyond the era, or possibly even a group of extraterrestrials. According to Enoch's writings, he was taken by the Watchers at one point in what we can only surmise was some kind of craft. In his writings, Enoch claims he was taken from earth up into the sky by God, and he was shown heaven. He mentions that during his journey, he was taken to heavenly places unlike anything else on earth. He also speaks of seeing stars, and possibly even describes the Milky Way. Could Enoch be making reference to a trip that took him beyond the boundaries Earth? Was he really taken into the heavens on some kind of craft that could travel into space? Is it possible he even ventured to another planet? This isn't the only time an unusual craft is mentioned in biblical texts. Another later prophet, Elijah claims he was also taken up to the heavens in a chariot of fire. Was this the way in which a man living over 2,000 years ago would have explained leaving the earth in such a craft, as he had no other means of describing such a foreign object? Sumer legends, worldwide. Folklore, evidence of aliens. Various scholars have interpreted the name Nephilim as a hybrid offspring, seemingly a mixing of two different species of hominid. The idea of such enormous humanoids is passed down in biblical texts, but also appears in the writings of various other cultures, such as those of Mesopotamia. Here folklore speaks of the gods having intercourse with humans, and the children they had were giants. In the surviving writings of Mesopotamia, they also speak of a broad array of gods whom they call the Anunnaki. If we are to try and understand the meaning behind the folklore of the ancient world, should we start interpreting the word